The year was 1910, a time when photography was still a budding art form, capturing the essence of life in ways never seen before. On a crisp autumn day, as leaves danced to the ground in shades of amber and gold, a photographer ventured into a small town nestled between rolling hills. He carried his large wooden camera with pride, excited to capture the unique charm of the place he called home. Little did he know that this day would lead him into a mystery that would linger for generations. The photograph that would later become infamous showcased a quaint scene of children playing by an old oak tree, its branches stretching wide like welcoming arms. If you enjoy this video, please like the video and subscribe for more. And tell me where you are watching from today. I always find it awesome to see where all my viewers are watching from. Let's get back to the video. The sun filtered through the leaves, casting playful shadows on the ground. Among this lively group was a young girl, perhaps around 8 years old. She stood slightly apart from the others, her gaze fixed intently on the photographer with an expression that seemed far beyond her years, a mix of seriousness and knowledge. Her hair framed her face in soft waves, and a simple white dress flowed down to her knees, meticulously kept despite the dust and dirt typical of outdoor play. Her bare feet were caked with mud, adding a touch of innocence to her otherwise thoughtful demeanor. While her friends laughed and tumbled about, she seemed as if she were waiting for something, or someone, just out of sight. The photographer could feel an inexplicable pull toward her. He adjusted his camera lens and focused on the child's earnest eyes, which sparkled like tiny emeralds in the sunlight. Every detail of this moment begged to be captured. Her delicate fingers clutching a doll made from scraps, the slight crinkle around her brow that hinted at wisdom hidden deep within her young heart. He pressed the shutter button and felt the moment freeze in time. But as this picture was taken, something strange occurred. The child turned her head briefly, glancing towards the woods behind her with an intensity that made the photographer pause. It was as if she sensed something he could not see. The air became thick with anticipation. Even the laughter of her peers faded to silence. She then locked eyes with him again, and quite unexpectedly, whispered words that would haunt him forever. "You need to leave now." Confusion washed over him. He was puzzled by her warning, but didn't want to frighten her or disrupt their play. The child's straightforwardness was more unsettling than any ghost story he'd ever heard, and in that instant, he thought about asking what she meant or what danger lurked nearby. But before he could respond, she took a step back from the group and glanced over her shoulder once more. The moment hung in the air, like a snowflake mid-fall, fragile yet electric. The photographer instinctively lowered his camera but retained his gaze on her, trying to decipher any hint or clue about what might happen next. Yet before he could ponder deeply or call out to her in concern, she slowly began to vanish from his view behind the tree line. Panic surged through him as he rushed forward into an impending silence that felt palpable. The children resumed their games obliviously. They seemed unaware of the gravity of the encounter he just experienced. Turning back toward where she had stood moments before, he strained his eyes against the golden sunlight filtering through branches, hoping for one last glimpse of her. But there was nothing there. As he scanned the woods behind them, it felt like time had slowed down. Each heartbeat echoed in his ears. Where had she gone? How could someone just disappear? He called out hesitantly at first, but louder as hope dwindled with each unanswered call. This single photograph would go on to tell more than just a story through its stillness. It became an artifact of mystery etched forever against time's relentless march forward. capturing not only an image but also whispers of curiosity about who that girl really was, what message she hoped to convey, and why she vanished so suddenly. He returned home that evening with mixed emotions weighing on his mind, his heart filled with questions about the warning from a child who appeared out of nowhere and then faded away just as mysteriously. As dusk began to settle and stars twinkled shyly above, he couldn't shake off the notion that perhaps this young girl wasn't merely playing along with friends, but instead guarding secrets that lay hidden among the trees. Little did he know that this photograph would invite many more inquiries long after its development. The type of inquiries often accompanied by tales of old ghosts or children lost between worlds where time itself no longer held sway. For now, however, all he had was this captured piece and an unshakable feeling that something significant lay ahead, waiting to be discovered in every detail engraved in that frame forevermore. The photographer, named Henry Thompson, was a man of humble beginnings. Born in a small village not far from the town where he worked, he grew up surrounded by stories about the land and its people. His father was a farmer, and his mother ran a local bakery, instilling in him a deep appreciation for the simple pleasures of life. As a child, Henry often wandered through the fields and forests, observing the beauty of nature and the quiet moments of everyday life. These experiences shaped his artistic eye and inspired his passion for photography. Henry's fascination with capturing moments on film began when he was given a small box camera as a birthday gift. From that day on, he would seek out the extraordinary in the ordinary. He wanted to share the beauty he saw with others and create lasting memories that could endure beyond time itself. His early photographs depicted local landscapes, farmers tending to their crops, and families enjoying picnics in the sun-drenched meadows. Each image told a story, a glimpse into the lives of those around him. By 1910, Henry had honed his skills as a photographer, gaining recognition in his small town for his ability to capture genuine emotions and candid moments. His work often adorned local newspapers and community bulletins, drawing attention to events like harvest festivals or fairs. Although he enjoyed this appreciation, it was never about fame or fortune for him. It was about preserving moments that could otherwise fade away. On that fateful autumn day, when he ventured to take pictures near the old oak tree, Henry felt connected to history itself. This location had been significant for generations. Children had played there for years, while families gathered under its sprawling branches for picnics and celebrations. The oak tree stood as a symbol of strength and resilience, much like the community surrounding it. Feeling a sense of reverence for this site, filled with memories, Henry thought it would be perfect to capture its charm alongside the joyful laughter of children. He carefully set up his large wooden camera on its tripod, adjusting the lens to frame both the oak tree and the lively scene before him. As he prepared to take photographs, he couldn't help but reflect on how photography had changed since its early days. People were beginning to appreciate photography not just as a means of documentation, but as an art form that could evoke emotion and tell stories. As he clicked away at various angles, capturing playful expressions and spontaneous laughter among the children, he felt an undeniable connection to this moment, a sense that what was unfolding before him held deeper significance than just another picture in his portfolio. Little did he know that fate had other plans. Henry's motivations extended beyond artistic expression. He also felt driven by a desire to document his world at a time when changes were sweeping across society. The early 20th century was marked by rapid industrialization and urbanization, which left many small towns vulnerable to change. He feared that these cherished traditions might fade into memory like whispers on the wind if they weren't preserved through images. His heart swelled with pride when people recognized his work. It gave him purpose. the knowledge that each photograph might serve as an anchor for future generations to understand their roots and appreciate their heritage. However, this sense of responsibility also weighed heavily upon him whenever he encountered fleeting moments like those with the young girl by the oak tree. After capturing several shots of carefree children running free under golden leaves, something shifted in Henry's focus when he spotted her. The girl who would soon challenge everything he understood about his craft and life itself. With her serious gaze piercing through layers of innocence, she ignited curiosity within him about untold stories hidden amidst laughter. As Henry continued snapping photos of her friends playing nearby, while glancing toward her solemn face, illuminated by sunlight filtering through branches above them, thoughts raced through his mind. Why did she look at him so intently? What secrets lay behind those emerald eyes? Did she know something significant? As dusk crept closer on that unforgettable day filled with wonderment, and shadows danced along paths leading deeper into woods, he felt an urgent need to uncover whatever truth lingered nearby. Yet, even in pursuit of answers, lay uncertainties beyond reason's grasp. Little did Henry realize how intertwined his own journey would become with hers. How pursuing one fleeting moment would forever alter not only his understanding of photography, but also challenge how people perceived reality itself within captured frames etched against time's relentless march forward. In this way, Henry Thompson embarked on more than just another day behind a camera. He stepped into uncharted territory, laden with mysteries waiting patiently beneath layers of unyielding history. A world yearning for exploration as stories unfolded with every click of the shutter. As the sun climbed higher and painted the sky with warm hues, Henry continued capturing the laughter of children and the beauty of the oak tree. However, it was the young girl who had captured his full attention, her serious demeanor contrasting sharply against the joy surrounding her. Intrigued by her presence, he felt an inexplicable pull to understand her better, especially as she continually glanced toward the woods behind them, her expression clouded with urgency. Just as he clicked another shot, she turned to him and, without warning, spoke in a hushed but firm voice that sent a chill down his spine. "You need to leave now." The words hung in the air like a sudden gust of wind, catching him off guard. In all his years of photography, he had never encountered anything quite like this. A child so young delivering a message that felt laden with weight and foreboding. Henry was startled and somewhat puzzled. What could possibly compel such a warning? Was it merely playful imagination? Or was there something more significant lurking just out of sight? As she spoke, her eyes seemed to hold secrets he could not decipher, sparkling with a clarity that belied her age. There was an intensity in her gaze that suggested she understood something about their surroundings that he couldn't grasp. Feeling bewildered yet intrigued, Henry hesitated. He looked around at the other children, who remained blissfully unaware of the tension in the air. Their laughter echoed joyfully, contrasting sharply with the urgent tone of the girl's warning. Perhaps she had spotted something unusual, a wild animal, perhaps. But when he glanced into the nearby woods, he saw only serene trees swaying gently in the breeze. "Why?" Aparast managed to ask, unsure of how to respond to her sudden urgency. The girl's response was quick and deliberate. "It's coming." With those words hanging ominously between them, she cast another worried look over her shoulder as if something unseen watched from beyond the trees. The atmosphere shifted then. Sunlight seemed to dim for just a moment as a strange chill crept through the air. Henry felt it too, like a shadow had passed overhead. He could hardly shake off this feeling of unease, as if an invisible force hovered over them. The laughter of children faded momentarily into an echoing silence that made his heart race. "What's coming?" he asked again, genuinely concerned, but also captivated by this eerie moment. Yet before he could press her further for more information, she took a step back from the group and glanced once more into the woods. There was a sense of urgency in her movements, a quiet plea for him to heed her warning. In that fleeting moment, as he tried to capture every detail on film and imprint it on memory, something extraordinary happened. The girl turned away from him entirely and began to move backward, almost gliding toward the shadows beneath the oak tree. It was as if she were caught between two worlds, the one filled with laughter and innocence, and another cloaked in mystery that beckoned her away. Henry instinctively lowered his camera, but kept his eyes trained on her retreating figure. Panic surged through him as he realized she was disappearing behind the tree line. "Wait, come back!" he called out, but his voice felt small against the backdrop of rustling leaves and distant laughter, as if responding to his call or perhaps dismissing it entirely. She stepped into the shadows and vanished from sight in an instant. No trace left behind, except for an unsettling silence that enveloped him like fog rolling across a darkened field. What had just happened? The encounter left Henry breathless. Questions flooded his mind like rushing water after heavy rain. Where did she go? Why had she warned him? Was there genuinely something dangerous nearby, lurking just beyond what he could see? His heart raced as he scanned every inch of that familiar landscape, now transformed into an enigma. Instinct urged him to pack up and leave right then and there. To heed her warning, even if it seemed unrealistic at first. But before making that decision, curiosity gnawed at him fiercely. What if she had seen something supernatural? How could he walk away from such an extraordinary moment without understanding its depth? Filled with conflicting emotions of fear and fascination, Henry found himself standing at a crossroads. Should he pursue answers hidden among shadows or retreat back into safety? That single warning from a child had sparked an insatiable desire to uncover whatever lay beyond. A pull that would ultimately draw him deeper into mysteries yet untold. As minutes turned into what felt like hours standing there, regarding where she had disappeared with trepidation tinged excitement in his veins, it became clear to him. This day would lead not only into uncertainty, but also adventure that churned from darkness toward illumination. A journey forever marked by one solitary child's cryptic warning that now resonated long after she was gone. The air felt thick with anticipation as Henry Thompson instinctively lowered his camera, his heart racing in sync with the intensity of the moment. The young girl, who had seemingly stepped out of a storybook, stood before him with an urgency that sent chills down his spine. The warning she had delivered echoed in his mind, rousing a sense of dread he couldn't quite shake off. He could see her eyes glimmering with something he couldn't define: fear, knowledge. Both? "Wait," Henry called out, his voice urgent but tinged with disbelief. He took a hesitant step toward her, hoping to bridge the chasm that seemed to stretch between them. The laughter of her friends faded into the background, replaced by an eerie silence that enveloped the scene like a thick fog. It was as if the very world around him had paused, waiting for something to unfold. The girl glanced back toward the woods with that same serious expression, and Henry felt a pull to follow her gaze. The vibrant colors of autumn were still alive on the leaves, yet everything felt muted. From the playful giggles of the other children to the golden light filtering through the branches of the oak tree above them. All of a sudden, the joyous atmosphere shifted, replaced by an unsettling feeling that something ominous loomed just beyond sight. As she turned away from him for the last time, Henry's breath caught in his throat. She began to step backward, moving with an unnatural grace toward the shadows of the oak tree, as if being drawn by an unseen force that beckoned her into the dark embrace of the woods. He couldn't reconcile her carefree nature with the urgency she had just expressed. It was as if she belonged to two worlds at once. "What's happening?" he whispered, more to himself than anyone else. His heart pounded loudly in his chest as he strained to understand her next move. Was she caught between wanting to warn him and being summoned by something unknown? Then, with one final glance that seemed laden with meaning, perhaps a plea or an invitation, she slipped behind the massive trunk of the oak tree and vanished. It was as though she had been swallowed whole by the very shadows that danced beneath the branches, leaving nothing behind but a faint ripple in the air where she had been standing. Henry stood frozen in disbelief, mouth agape as he searched for signs of her presence. The children continued their games without noticing anything amiss. Their laughter rang hollow against the backdrop of his mounting anxiety. No one else had witnessed this extraordinary moment, making him question his own senses. Could such a thing even happen? Where had she gone? "Come back!" he shouted, voice cracking with urgency and confusion. He rushed forward, scanning every inch around and beneath the oak tree, but there was no sign of her, only deepening shadows and whispering leaves, as if nature itself held secrets meant for only a chosen few. In those fleeting moments after her disappearance, Henry felt his heart thudding heavily in his chest. No longer did he see just a tree or children playing. Instead, he perceived an uncharted territory filled with possibility and dread. The world around him shifted, suddenly vast and unwelcoming, leaving him feeling small and vulnerable. He juggled emotions ranging from fear to fascination, exhilaration intertwined with trepidation. As seconds turned into what felt like hours, panic clawed at him from within. He wanted nothing more than to flee back to safety. Yet, an insatiable curiosity rooted him in place. What could have happened to her? Was there truly something lurking in those woods that warranted such a warning? The questions flooded into his mind like an unstoppable tide. Only then did he feel it. A shiver racing down his spine as if something cold had crept close behind him. Instinctively, he turned around, half expecting to find an answer waiting just beyond the reach of sight. But there was nothing. Only silence wrapped around him like a heavy cloak. Conflicted over whether to stay or run, Henry found himself torn between fear of what might come next and an unyielding desire to unearth the mystery surrounding the young girl. This day was meant to be about capturing joy through his lens. Yet he realized he had stumbled upon something much more profound, an adventure that would unravel in ways he could not yet comprehend. Would he brave whatever lay ahead? Would he venture into those woods where shadows seemed to dance just beyond the trees? A flicker of determination sparked within him amidst rising uncertainty. A commitment to seek answers even as darkness beckoned, knowing full well that some stories needed to be chased down at any cost. In that suspended moment in time, Henry Thompson stood alone before shadows thickening and swirling around him, ready to embark on a journey where light and darkness intertwined under the watchful gaze of secrets waiting to be revealed. As Henry stood frozen in disbelief, his heart pounding furiously in his chest, the laughter of the other children around the oak tree continued unabated. They remained blissfully unaware of the tension that had just erupted in their midst. However, a few nearby adults who had been watching the scene unfold began to pick up on something unusual. The atmosphere felt heavier, charged with an energy that set them on edge. Mrs. Jenkins, a local schoolteacher known for her nurturing spirit, was one of those onlookers. She had been chatting with another parent about the festivities of the upcoming harvest festival when she noticed Henry's sudden shift in demeanor. "Henry, is everything all right?" she called out, concern tight in her voice. Her gaze flickered between him and the group of children, searching for answers. When she saw the young girl and witnessed her serious warning, Mrs. Jenkins felt a chill course through her. She could see that something unsettling was happening, but she couldn't quite put her finger on it. As she approached closer to Henry, she asked again, "What did she say?" Henry turned to her, still grappling with the gravity of what he had just experienced, but managed to stammer out a reply. "She told me to leave. Then she just vanished." His words tumbled out as if they alone were heavy enough to carry the weight of his fear. A worried expression crossed Mrs. Jenkins's face as she glanced toward where the girl had disappeared among the shadows of the trees. "Vanished?" she echoed incredulously. "What do you mean? Children don't just vanish." The others who overheard began to turn their eyes toward Henry as whispers started circulating among them. Mr. Thompson, a burly farmer and father to 2 of the playing children, felt an instinctive tug at his protective instincts as he brushed past curious onlookers toward Henry's side. "Now hold on there," he said, irritation mixing with concern in his tone. He didn't want to believe what he was hearing, but sensed something was amiss. "Are you sure you're not just seeing things? Kids play tricks all the time. They likely went off exploring." "Mr. Thompson," Mrs. Jenkins interjected sharply, wishing to keep focus on Henry's distress rather than dismissing it casually. "We need to be serious about this. Something isn't right." Just then, more children who had been playing nearby gathered around them, drawn by curiosity and confusion etched across their faces. "What happened? Where did she go?" little Sarah asked innocently, while tugging at Mrs. Jenkins's skirt. Henry's mind raced as he faced their questions. Each set of wide-eyed expressions only heightened his anxiety and frustration at being unable to provide an explanation that would satisfy any worried parent or child alike. Their innocence stood starkly against the darkness he now sensed lurking just beyond their playful circle. With every passing second, murmurs and speculations spread like wildfire through those assembled under that sprawling oak tree. A place once filled only with laughter, now weighed down by an eerie pallor cast from shadows hidden among leaves overhead. "We should search the woods," one young father suggested, while looking back towards the dark outline, where branches entwined thickly together, creating a barrier seemingly separating them from whatever truth lay hidden inside its depths. Despite reluctant murmurs among some others who feared venturing too close to unknown danger lingering near that threshold between light and darkness, particularly those with young children, weighed against impulse, urged them closer toward action, sparked by urgency growing within each adult, witnessing this strange occurrence unfold. "I'll go," Henry declared suddenly. Determination filled him, even as uncertainty churned within him, like a storm readying itself for release above gray skies, gathering behind regular autumn sunshine, streaking through otherwise peaceful foliage all around them. Seeing Henry's resolve ignited a spark among others. Hesitation began dissipating as those once skeptical shifted glances toward each other, before nodding in agreement as fear rippled through their hearts. An understanding settled amongst parents mingled with dread concerning what might await them should caution be abandoned entirely given current circumstances ahead, looming uncertainly even after innocent play reigned here moments before. The urgency grew palpable as they prepared themselves, grabbing lanterns or calling for helpers from further away, to investigate deeper into woods cloaked in mystery beyond seemingly ordinary schoolyard connectedness, present moments prior amidst nature's embrace, slowly transforming into 2 worlds colliding, one radiant, filled with childlike wonder, shadowed ominously underneath shifting shades where secrets waited quietly beneath leaves until beckoned forth anew. Through whispers, sharing worry and decision-making. Gathering compass directions, sharpened towards uncharted territory, unscripted written paths inscribed by fate. It became evident, whether driven by fear or courage intertwined beneath heroic resolve, kindling flames brighter than uncertainty, that at dusk's approach, adventurers emerged resolute, crossing thresholds, redefining ordinary life, bound before lightning. Filled laughter turned somber echoes, dawning bravely unearth unforeseen truths, where mere coincidences led into extraordinary realms, overshadowed only by dimming light, retreating alongside them, edging ever closer into darkness, waiting silently ahead. The sun dipped lower in the sky as Henry and the concerned adults began to gather their thoughts and form a plan. The atmosphere was thick with unease, and despite the vibrant autumn colors around them, it felt as if a shadow had fallen over the joyful scene just moments before. Where once there had been laughter, now there was only tension and a shared determination to uncover the truth of the girl's mysterious disappearance. "Let's not waste any time," Henry said, his voice steady despite the rising anxiety within him. "We need to search the woods immediately." The adults nodded in agreement, a flicker of resolve igniting among them. They grabbed lanterns and flashlights from their vehicles, quickly readying themselves for an investigation that felt both urgent and surreal. As they moved into the woods under the fading light, whispers spread through the small group. The parents exchanged theories, speculating on what may have happened to the young girl. "Maybe she got lost," one mother suggested, her voice tinged with worry for her own children who were still playing. Another father frowned and shook his head. She warned him about something. It didn't feel right. Henry felt the weight of their collective concern bearing down on him. He led the way into the trees, scanning every shadow, searching for any hints that would explain what had happened. As he walked deeper into the woods, memories flooded back. Stories he'd heard as a child about kids losing their way in these very woods, or local legends of spirits that wandered beneath the trees. The group eventually reached a clearing where shadows danced in the fading light. A sense of foreboding settled heavily upon them. Henry took a deep breath and called out softly, "Hello? Can anyone hear me?" His voice echoed eerily through the trees, met only by a rustling breeze that stirred branches above him. After what felt like an eternity of searching without results, they finally decided to split up and expand their search radius. Each adult took a different path through the woods while shouting her name. "Anna, where are you?" Mrs. Jenkins called out, clinging desperately to hope but feeling dread crawl up her spine. As they searched, hushed conversations began among those still at the oak tree. Worried neighbors gathered, trading rumors of strange happenings over recent weeks. Some spoke of eerie lights seen in the forest at night, while others recalled moments where they swore they saw children playing by themselves when no one else was around. "Just last week I heard my son say he saw someone standing by that old oak." Mrs. Hargrove chimed in nervously. "He thought it was just some other kids messing around." The murmurs grew louder as more parents joined in with similar accounts. Unexplained giggles echoing from hidden places, or shadows that seemed to move independently under moonlight. These rumors began to amplify fears. Had something sinister claimed Anna? Was she merely caught up in a childish game gone wrong, or snatched by forces beyond comprehension? With each story shared came anxiety that gnawed deeper at their hearts. Meanwhile, back in the woods, Henry continued calling for her with escalating urgency, while desperately trying not to let panic take hold. He paused occasionally to listen for any replies amid persistent sounds of crunching leaves underfoot or branches snapping overhead. Sounds that heightened his senses, but brought little solace. As darkness enveloped them, like a heavy shawl wrapped tight around lonely shoulders or silent cries muffled deep within shadows, a sense of isolation set in even as the adults remained determined. They were all there together, but somehow each felt profoundly alone, grappling with fear stemming from uncertainty surrounding this mystery unfolding before them. After hours of fruitless searching, exhaustion started to settle in when one man shouted from afar, drawing everyone's attention. "Hey, over here!" Hope bubbled to the surface as Henry sprinted toward his voice along winding paths obscured by tangled roots stretched out, like hands grasping at escape from unseen threats lurking deeper down darkened trails. They congregated at a spot illuminated by lantern light where he stood pointing toward something peculiar, a tangle of bushes lying oddly askew near an old rock wall. Something seemed off about it. The brush was disturbed, as though someone had hurriedly pushed it aside. "What did you find?" Henry asked breathlessly. "Looks like some footprints," he replied cautiously while kneeling down. "They lead further into this thicket. Maybe she passed through here?" Murmurs spread once again as new hope mixed with trepidation. Following tracks left behind could provide answers, and yet questions loomed larger than ever. What if they led them deeper into danger? Would they unveil truth shrouded beneath layers obscured by time and emotion built through generations? With renewed determination, fueled by curiosity, tempered with caution, the group prepared once more, traversing into uncharted territory, determined. Whatever might lie ahead, even as uncertainty pressed heavily upon them, they knew one thing remained. Finding Anna emerged paramount. Shadows could wait until dawn broke clear, illuminating truths waiting just beyond reach elsewhere, hidden within unexplored depths, unfolding quietly beneath trees, holding stories untold far too long, now yearning exposure before light returned anew. In 1910, life in small towns and rural areas was steeped in tradition and simplicity. Yet it was also a time of significant change in society. The looming shadow of rapid industrialization and urbanization was beginning to reshape the fabric of everyday life. Families relied on agriculture and local trades for their livelihoods, but many were feeling the push to move to cities in search of better opportunities. This transitional period led to a complex mix of hope and anxiety, especially among parents raising their children. Children's roles during this time were markedly different from those of today. They were often seen as miniature adults, expected to contribute to household chores or farm work from a young age. Playtime was viewed as a luxury and often took place outdoors, where children could use their imagination freely in nature's playgrounds. The oak tree where Henry captured his photograph became not just a gathering place for games, but an essential part of their community's identity, grounding them in shared history amid uncertain futures. Nevertheless, the innocence of childhood was inseparable from the harsh realities of life. Many families faced economic struggles and societal pressures brought forth by ongoing changes. In the backdrop of World War I on the horizon, there was an unsteady sense that everything could shift at any moment, prompting worry about what lay ahead for future generations. Parents often carried this uncertainty heavily on their shoulders, leading to a cultural milieu where protectionism flourished. The instinct to guard children against perceived dangers became paramount. Within this context, Stories of caution began circulating among townspeople, warning children about unknown threats lurking just beyond familiar paths. The woods lining their neighborhoods were both enchanting and intimidating spaces, full of untold mysteries. Tales of mischievous spirits or lost children added an element of fear that kept many parents on edge. For Henry Thompson and the other adults witnessing Anna's vanishing act, these myths held more weight than mere folklore. They resonated with deeply embedded fears rooted in historical experiences. While rural life typically fostered close-knit communities with shared traditions, it also meant that news spread quickly. Even whispers could spark concern among neighbors. When Anna went missing after her mysterious warning, rumors ignited throughout the town. Some speculated she had become entranced by the very tales meant to keep her safe, while others suggested darker forces may have been at play, a reflection of broader societal tensions that fueled imaginative thinking. In response to these fears, Henry and the other adults banding together to search for Anna represented a deeper societal impulse. The drive to protect youth amid uncertainty. Their determination mirrored community values deeply ingrained within rural life. Cooperation and resilience against adversity, such as illness or environmental disasters, kept families united through even the toughest times. The fallout from Anna's disappearance rippled through every corner of town, echoing sentiments heard across generations where loss or concern ignited warriors who mobilized together, united under a common cause. Finding hope amidst darkness, waiting just beyond familiar trails. As rumors intensified among townsfolk gathered beneath the oak tree while Henry searched, the collective effort transitioned from fear-driven speculation toward proactive measures taken by those who knew something needed to be done. They began calling upon others willing to join them in exploration, guided not only by shadows visible, but also those obscured deep within memories, woven together over years spent navigating through cycles of joy intertwined with moments forever marked by loss or uncertainty. In doing so, each adult understood simultaneously that while they were out seeking answers externally, venturing into forests rich with nature, they were also embarking on journeys, inwardly exploring what it meant to protect innocence encapsulated within childhood spirit alive, amidst change steadily sweeping across society around them, unfolding quietly, beneath autumn leaves, swirling downward from golden boughs overhead, highlighting connections still strong beyond uncertain futures, beckoning brightly with promises yet unfulfilled, awaiting revelation unveiled through light, returning anew, illuminating paths once hidden long before. As the search for Anna intensified, so did the theories and speculations swirling around her mysterious disappearance. The adults gathered beneath the oak tree exchanged whispers, each contributing their own ideas about who the girl might have been and what could have led to her vanishing act. Some were convinced that she was not just an ordinary child, but a spirit or a figure from local legend. One popular theory among the townsfolk was that Anna resembled a girl from a long-ago tale, a story passed down through generations about a child who had gone missing in those very woods. According to the old wives' tales, this girl had wandered into the forest one fateful day and never returned, her laughter echoing through the trees even after she vanished. Many believed that her spirit lingered, waiting for someone to free her from whatever held her captive in the shadows. "Maybe she's a wood nymph," said Mrs. Hargrove with wide eyes as she leaned closer to her neighbors, her voice barely above a whisper. "You know how they say some children can be taken by magical beings if they stray too far? Perhaps Anna fell under their spell." The idea sent shivers down some spines, while igniting intrigue in others who loved such enchanting stories. Another theory suggested a darker possibility, that something sinister lurked in the woods, perhaps even a malevolent presence that had drawn Anna away. Local legends spoke of strange lights flickering in the forest at night. Mysterious phenomena attributed to spirits or creatures drawing unsuspecting children further into the depths of the woods. These tales, shared around fires and during chilly nights, had long warned children not to wander alone. Now they took on an alarming reality. What if she saw something she wasn't supposed to? Questioned Mr. Thompson, his brow furrowing with concern. Some people say there are hidden places in these woods where things go wrong, where you can lose your way forever. He couldn't shake off memories of menacing stories told at gatherings. Cautionary tales designed to instill fear and keep children close to home. As rumors spread like wildfire among those gathered at the oak tree, whispers turned into discussions filled with worry and urgency. Parents began recalling instances when their children reported seeing shadows darting between trees or hearing laughs that seemed out of place. Echoes of childhood innocence now twisted into chilling warnings. It sparked both anxiety and fascination as they contemplated whether these experiences were mere coincidences or signs of something much more profound at work. I heard my son talking about seeing someone standing by the tree. Mrs. Jenkins chimed in nervously, recalling an incident from earlier that summer. He thought it was just another child playing, but now, I can't help but wonder if he saw Anna. Her voice trembled as she spoke. Fear crept into her heart as she pondered how many other children might have noticed strange happenings around them without ever knowing what lay beneath those charming surfaces. Among all these theories, there was also a persistent undercurrent of doubt, an understanding that perhaps Anna's warning had simply been an innocent burst of imagination mistaken for something deeper. Children play games all the time, another parent remarked skeptically. Perhaps she warned him because they were pretending. Kids have such vivid minds. Yet even as he spoke those words aloud, he felt unease gnawing at his thoughts. Could it really be so simple? As evening descended upon the town, casting long shadows over familiar landscapes transformed by uncertainty, the adults felt torn between keeping faith in whimsical tales passed down through generations and acknowledging tangible fears born from collective memories shaded darkly by loss regarding childhood innocence. With every passing moment spent searching for answers only deepened their conviction. Regardless of whether Anna was indeed taken by magic or merely lost among trees cloaked in darkness, a shared purpose connected everyone deeply rooted within community bonds forged through love and concern for youth's safety amidst changing tides shaping lives around them consistently over time. Yet amid these swirling theories surrounding Anna's disappearance emerged an undeniable truth. Whether folklore held sway over reality, or whether dark forces played into this mystery unfolding before them, the quest remained paramount. Finding hope buried beneath layers, obscured by intertwined paths leading toward mystery, unexplored, waiting patiently behind every branch, obscuring light, promising revelation yet unknown, beckoned quietly calling forth, finding clarity once concealed amongst deepening shadows, swirling just beyond grasp. As the years rolled by, the photograph taken by Henry Thompson in 1910 not only captured a fleeting moment in time, but also became a cornerstone of local folklore and the history of photography itself. What began as a simple image of children at play, infused with a sense of innocence and joy, transformed into an indelible symbol of mystery rooted in the community's collective consciousness. Anna's warning continued to resonate through both whispers and tales that echoed across generations. Initially, the photo hung in the town's local hall, where families gathered for events such as harvest festivals or dances. Its presence was more than aesthetic. It carried with it an aura of intrigue that drew people closer. Did you hear what happened to her? became a common line during conversation breaks, as families recounted their own interpretations of her story, while they gazed intently at the photograph. Each person brought their own insight. Some viewed Henry's work as capturing raw emotion, while others questioned the nature of reality itself after Anna's mysterious disappearance. As this haunting tale became woven into the community fabric, the photograph began to attract attention beyond its borders. It found its way into regional newspapers, often highlighted in articles exploring local legends or eerie occurrences. Journalists flocked to interview townsfolk about Anna and her vanishing act, spinning stories that connected her fate to supernatural phenomena and chilling tales passed down through time. The image transitioned from being simply a childhood memory into a topic of debate for historians and photographers alike. Photography scholars held it up as an early example of narrative-driven art, showcasing the power of an image to invoke emotions and provoke thoughts beyond mere visuals. The juxtaposition of laughter amidst an unsettling mystery added layers to its appreciation in academic circles. Researchers debated its role in shaping public sentiment about youth, innocence, and societal fears that were all too familiar. Anna's story further evolved with each retelling throughout the region. In one version, she was described as having vanished due to a playful encounter with forest sprites, a portrayal that linked her disappearance to ancient myths about mischievous creatures who lured children deeper into enchanted woods. Mrs. Hargrove often recounted this version at community bonfires, face illuminated by lantern light, stoking both fear and fascination while mesmerizing her listeners with tales of magic intertwined within their everyday lives. Conversely, others insisted that Anna should be remembered not just as a positive sprite gone wild, but also in connection with darker themes. Potential environmental dangers or hidden threats lurking behind familiar trees, mirroring ongoing societal anxieties shaped by changing times and growing urbanization. Chilling accounts about glowing lights seen from afar in those very woods stirred trepidation among parents sharing their stories around kitchen tables on cold nights, muttered anxiously within hushed tones just before bed. Worries clouding any sense of safety many had once embraced. Fascination with Anna's legacy also led curious adventurers to seek out the sacred oak, a quest driven by folklore that accompanied her vanishing act, where it was rumored she might still linger. They trekked into those woods, hoping for just a glimpse or even an adventure, ignited by whispered urges, enticing them further down unexplored paths, leading directly into shadows, dense among foliage marking pathways, rich, echoing minuscule adventures still unfolding yet revealing themselves, waiting patiently, held close beside memories woven endlessly beneath branches, thick folding days, transfigured music, softly laughing carried upon winds, smoother gentle steps, embrace light filtering downwards, shimmering rhythmically beneath imagined images, past, present, mixed, now overlapping between ancient, past, vividly alive, threading forward anew, as twilight deepened over fragile earth. Below, like stories told, repeatedly memorialized above sunsets, long shifted through time as generations grew, to keep Anna's image forever etched along trails woven through whispered accounts, radiating promise, newfound meaning, find its place across valleys deep, still held bound, passed quietly beneath ruffled leaves. Autumn lit now, awaiting touching destiny, shimmer, bright twilight. Beckoning followers longing innocently, explore births born whilst transfixed anew. A live, vibrant pulse, echo planted deeply, summoning timelessness, softly glistening, beckoning dreams arise. Rest along transformative journeys beckon finding fulfillment. Moments unprecedented, converging minds, culminating deeply, own returning thought, seek ensure legacies yield embracing woven complexities, illuminating truth's abundant trails, brighter sunshine kept freshly nestled through gaps, pervading realities, hanging uneasily, inviting change, empowering revelations, chase dreams, crowns once forgotten. Hearts yearning ever so surely await illumination, breaking the surface long denied. The mystery surrounding Henry Thompson's photograph of Anna continues to echo through time, inviting those who encounter it to delve into their own experiences with the unknown. The image, once an innocent capture of children at play, transformed into a significant part of local folklore and has become a powerful symbol of the enigma that life holds. It resonates with our collective curiosity about the world and the peculiarities that sometimes defy explanation. As generations have passed, Anna's story has taken on a life of its own. It raises questions not only about her fate, but about the nature of belief and the way stories shape our understanding of reality. Readers and listeners are drawn to her tale, reflecting on moments in their lives where they felt an intuition guiding them away from danger or perhaps towards a path shrouded in uncertainty. These personal connections to Anna's experience help forge a deeper bond with the photograph, making it an artifact of both community memory and individual introspection. The allure of the photograph is not just in its mystery, but also in its ability to evoke strong emotions. It taps into that universal fear of losing a loved one and the instinctual desire to protect children, deeply ingrained sentiments in societies around the globe. As people share their interpretations of Anna's warning, they become part of a larger narrative that speaks to fundamental truths about human existence. Our vulnerabilities, our urges to explore, and the dangers that often lurk in familiar settings. In many ways, the photograph encourages readers to embrace their own encounters with strangeness. Just as children today hear tales of Anna and her enigmatic warning, they may find themselves pondering similar occurrences in their lives. Have they ever felt a shiver on the back of their neck when things seemed amiss? Did they ever notice shadows moving in a way that felt oddly alive? In this manner, the photograph serves as a catalyst for conversations about those strange happenings that sometimes intertwine with reality, inviting people to reflect on how their narratives align with Anna's haunting story. Moreover, Anna's tale enriches local culture, becoming a touchstone for stories shared at community gatherings. Campfires crackle as parents recount her story to their children. Each telling transforms slightly, imbued with new perspectives and lessons learned from life's uncertainties. Through these retellings, Anna transcends the boundaries of time, becoming a trusted friend, whispering cautionary advice, while also embodying the joy and innocence of childhood adventures. The legacy of Henry's photograph also stimulates engagement with the natural world, a reminder for families to venture outside while remaining mindful of their surroundings. Children are encouraged to play near trees and explore forests, but are also taught the importance of listening to their intuition, those little inner voices reminding them to be cautious. The photograph weaves together themes of exploration and safety, urging communities to strike a balance between allowing freedom and fostering protection. As we reflect upon this enduring mystery, let us acknowledge all those who have encountered strange happenings or become part of local stories shaped by curiosity. Each person carries whispers of their own experiences, a collection of moments leading them to engage with the mysteries around them. Whether it's a fleeting shadow or a curious sound resonating from afar, these experiences bind us together as humans navigating a world deserving both reverence and exploration. In conclusion, the legacy of Henry Thompson's photograph will continue to inspire critical thought and imaginative wonder as long as stories are told and memories cherished. Anna's tale is a poignant reminder that some mysteries may never find resolution, and yet can still illuminate paths for reflection and growth. Let us honor her legacy by sharing our own stories and remaining open to the strange and beautiful wonders waiting just beyond our reach, forever prompting us toward discovery while celebrating the connections that make us human.